Give a lot of hope to my guys who've been backing me since day one.
Okay. Good morning, good evening, and or good afternoon. Don't y'all just miss that? Don't y'all just miss that? I'm just kidding. Good morning, good evening, and or good afternoon. It's your girl Kesi, and I have bad lighting. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. Today is going to be a nursing school video on how I study. I got a comment. I can tell you who gave me that comment because I'm going to try to be a good YouTuber and shout out the people who deserve it and who actually interact with me. So Golden Ma, she commented one day ago and it said, I would love to see a video on how you study and if you read the assigned chapters. Screenshot it. So today, which is a day where I need to start studying for sure, I'm going to show you guys how I set up my schedule to study and what I do as far as the assigned chapters. You know how they assign you 40 chapters to read for one test and you're just wondering, do I read them all? I can tell you now that I do not read them all. So I'm just gonna like pretty much break down the different things I do, I guess. So first thing I'm gonna do is turn on my screen recorder so y'all can see what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm so confused. I'm gonna open my schedule first before I start recording. I'll be back. Okay, so we are here. On the right, we have a schedule I made for test 1 of a certain class. And here's the topical outline for this class. And here's the topical outline for this class. So the main question in her question was how I study, which I will get to. But the second part of her question was if I read all the assigned chapters. And if you look in this column here, and on this side, you look in this column here, these are all the assigned chapters that we have to read. Look at me down in this little bubble, or I'll just maximize myself. Have to read. So if we look over here, I mean, for these two classes, it's not that much reading, but I know for fundamentals of nursing, if you watch my fundamentals of nursing video I did on how to study, you already know I don't read all the chapters. But here, I mean, I guess 1 or 2 chapters isn't that bad for like each assignment. But if you wait till the last minute to study, like most of us, or like most students or college students period, you're going to get to the point where you get to the end of the chapter test, where I'm pointing at right here, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chapters to read. So you never want to get yourself in that situation, you feel me? Like once you have that class on that Tuesday, spend that whole week trying to read 11 and 12, you know. If you're that type of learner that likes to read through everything and understand everything, I'm actually teaching myself something and realizing that I always have a week between each class. Okay, maybe I could start reading, but I am telling you guys what I do specifically today. So what I do, since we are on test 3 for both classes, I'm going to scroll down to test 3. I'm going to scroll down to the last part of test 2, end of test 2 content. So I'm gonna start there, and then end of test 2 content, I'm gonna start there. Okay, so obviously for this side over here is maternal, and for test 3 I have postpartum, newborn, and this is chapter 20, 23, 28, 21, and 22, and then that content ends. And then on the pediatric side I have hematology, immunology, infectious disease, respiratory, and endocrine, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 51, 45, 41, 42, and chapter 47. If you want to know how I study specifically, I found that, okay, if you know me from this relationship we have on YouTube, last semester was a very bad semester. Like, I was stressed, I was failing, I dropped the class, I failed the class, all that good stuff, bad stuff. I found this summer a couple of books that I started studying or just like reviewing out of. It was this book they gave us in the spring, and they also gave this semester they give this book to you in second semester to start studying NCLEX style questions and to prepare for the HESI at the end of the semester. Also, I may knock my camera down when I get this, but bear with me. I bought this myself. I didn't buy this. My daddy bought this for my birthday, actually. I just ordered it on his Amazon and he was like, get it, happy birthday. But I got this book here and I started reviewing in there. I realized my problem. I think first you have to realize where your problem is and then work towards, you know, making it better and doing better with that problem. My problem is taking NCLEX style questions. It wasn't solely the fact that I didn't know, you know, the information. Like, I would know every single thing about like hematology for the pediatric patient, but I couldn't get in a situation where here's 3 patients in this hematology situation, which one do we take care of first? Like, I couldn't tell you that, like, on the test. Like, it just made me forget everything and then some. So, still recording. Going back to the screen. I'm rambling. I just want to give y'all as much detail as I can, you feel me? So here is the schedule I made for test 1 of this semester's pediatric class. Or was it the second test? Whatever. It was a test. So I start at the bottom. And the first day I write the objectives down. 1. Go through every chapter and write down the objectives. And answer them. Like, you look in the book and you have a list of objectives. Look in your chapter and you see a list of objectives. It says, describe maternal and fetal responses to labor. What I would do is write that down and describe everything I knew as the individual about fetal and maternal responses to labor. And then after I wrote all of that down, the next day I would go to that specific chapter and read on everything to do with every one of those objectives and actually answer that objective correctly. Not with just the knowledge that I understood, but with the knowledge I understood, including the information that's in the book that's more detailed and more correct, of course, because of course, like, you're not going to know everything off the bat, but once you read it, you're going to know a little bit more, and then that's what you write down to include into your answer for the objective, if you understand what I'm saying. I don't want to do that one. Let's do physical assessment. So let's say this is the first chapter I had to study. For this chapter, I had to study physical assessment, right? And so I would read and answer the objectives, which I already said I did the first day, but the first day I actually just wrote them down. I didn't read and answer them. The second day I would go to the specific chapter with these objectives. So I would read the objectives that I already wrote down and answer the objectives with my own knowledge, like I already explained. The second part, I would look up the objectives to get the correct answers, like I already explained. Like, you go in the book, read in detail about that specific objectives. My thing is, I learned over the course of these 3 semesters that I've been in nursing school, I learned that if you understand the objectives, you understand the chapter, because the objectives is pretty much a summary of what the chapter is going to be about. You understand what I'm saying? So we have that. Make sure I'm still recording. We have that, and so I'll go to the third thing. It says read short paths, make Quizlets. So with my nursing school, we have Evolve Elsevier books, and if you don't know what Elsevier is, it's the company that creates the HESI, and that's how you spell it. And yeah, they make all these NCLEX books. They make they made all my nursing books, and so they have this online thing you go to, like this Evolve Elsevier website that is strictly for me, with my email, my password, that I signed up with my HESI. Like, all of this stuff is for me. It has all my books on there, all the things that I bought and like registered like this. Like, nobody else has this book on their Evolve except me, or unless they bought this book and put their access code in. Like, you understand, that's Evolve. So Evolve has these websites that you can go to practice. Like, it's like pretty much online lectures. So you go to the online lectures, read through. I can show you this stuff. I don't know why I'm just talking. So let's go to Evolve. There's Evolve. And so I'm already logged in, so I'll go to my Evolved, and here's all the stuff that I've ever been in, like my first semester stuff, and this was a old fundamentals book. This is my fundamentals book. Here's the NCLEX book they give in second semester. Here's my maternal book now, my pharmacology book that also has SurePath and all of that stuff. But and also I have a place where I can go see my my books that I have ebooks for, so it'll take me here, also in Elsevier, so that's cool. And then we get to SurePath. SurePath is the online, I just lost my train of thought. It's the online lectures that we do online, and I'm scared to click on this. I have something to do today, and I feel like I have one overdue, but we're not going to talk about that when it pops up. So I'll go into the SurePath, and it'll open up a different section. It's probably going to say one is overdue, but it's okay. You fall off sometimes. So yeah, I have one that's overdue. I'm sorry to show you this, but you got to be real sometimes. You feel me? So of course I already have this past due. When was it due? The 28th. That was yesterday. Oh, well, I have some overdue, so I will go in here, myself, when I do this, like when I'm overdue and whatnot, I will go ahead and do the lesson assessment, which gives you like questions. And what I do with these questions, I copy them. I'll open Quizlet, and then I would go start a Quizlet and paste that question in there, and I'll do all those questions that it gives me. So like say I'm just BSing it right now, just so you can see what it's like. Rooting, sucking, tonic knit, and stepping. I knew that one. I'm just BSing this, y'all. I'm sorry you're seeing this right now, but I have to show you guys what I actually do. I literally go through it the first time because it's pass or fail. Like I just need to complete it. I'll go through it. I got a 13. But what I'll do is go to what I got wrong. See, this is the first answer, the first question that I already pasted in here. And so I'll copy the correct answer and its rationale, put it in the Quizlet, and I'll do that for the entire test. I'm gonna go back in here later and like actually get a 100 on it because I'll actually read it. But you see that it disappears. That means it's complete, but it's really, wait, where did it go? Where did it go, y'all? Where did it go? Where the heck did it go? Y'all just saw something that just happened that I wasn't trying to do. Where did it go? Okay, I'm tripping. We tripping together because I'm confused. Where the heck did my thing just go? Okay, so this is what I'll do. I just really wanted to show y'all what SurePath was like, so I'll go in there, do all the questions and whatnot, and yeah, that's a study tool that I use, but obviously I can't use that today because it disappeared. Why the heck did it disappear? I got a 13. Oh my gosh, I'm scared. Maybe I'll cut that out. I don't know. But yes, that's SurePath. I'll go in, copy all the correct answers, and then redo it, get a 100. That's just what I've been doing this semester because it's helped me. Like those, and then they'll have like incorrect answers in it too. So I really haven't cared about the grade I've gotten on them because it's like, shoot, they have incorrect answers anyway. So how are you to tell me that I'm not actually doing it correctly? You know. But it's complete. And so I'll use SurePath for that. And so that's what that meant on my thing here. Read SurePath, make Quizlet. So I'll go through the SurePath, answer the questions, actually complete it for the homework grade, and then I'll go back and actually read it all and get the information from it. then I'll review my Quizlet. So after I make the Quizlet from the Shirt Pass, there's many quizzes in between the actual lectures, and like I didn't show you the lecture part because I'm scared that it's going to erase my other one if I start it, but I guess I can show you it. I'm so blown, y'all. So here's the lecture part. Like, you actually get a lecture. You start and it with an introduction, and then it starts talking about what's the overview or whatever, and then it starts talking about specific things in the Shirt Path lecture. You go through it until you get to like a mini quiz, and it has 3 questions there, and I'll copy and paste those to my Quizlets as well. Of course, that's still there because I didn't complete the quiz at the end, but that's what I'll do as far as... I just freaking realized I was not recording. On the camera, but this can hear me, so that's okay. I'm back. But I lost my train of thought because I realized I wasn't recording. Y'all should have seen my face. I wish this records me because y'all should have seen my face. Read upon things that I don't understand. So I'll like say I don't understand a specific pediatric assessment. Say I don't understand the assessment for a toddler. I will go to that specific part of the chapter where it talks about an assessment for a toddler and what they should be able to do, like Erickson type stuff, and just read upon that. Like, to answer your question, Golden Ma, do I read all the assigned chapters or whatever? No, I do not. I go to the things I don't understand, because why would you study things that you already know? You know, there are some things in nursing school that's literally common sense, like literally common sense stuff that you learn in anatomy that you just know, you know, or either it's just common sense, like I said. So yeah, I will only read on the things I know, and then I'll put over here in this column where the chapter, what chapter it is, and you know, the pages, and like these are basically the resources that I use. So like I'll know later on when I actually make the schedule. You get it. So that is pretty much all I do as far as preparing to study. And I guess you can also say this is how I study without PowerPoints. Now, as far as how I study with PowerPoints, I'm going to show y'all that in a sec. I'm not going to show y'all for this specific test. That was kind of my plan, but it's going to take me a while to actually make the plan out and all that. But I can show you my last test that I studied for that. I mean, I did pretty good on that test, so I can show y'all what I did. If you look all the way in my background, you see Ray, and you see my I can and I will thing that I bought from Ross. It is the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. Oh. Now let's get to how I study. So you know that our teachers give us PowerPoints, they give us pages to study, chapters to study. I don't know how everybody's teachers do, but you saw my schedule. They gave us the chapters and what we're going to be talking about in class and the Shirt Paths and all that good stuff. So that's what my teachers do. Whatever your teachers do, just follow along in the sense of what they do. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay, teachers that give you PowerPoints. What I do is I print out all the PowerPoints. I put them all. I put about 6 on each page or whatever. These are all from the same slide, and each tab is from a different chapter. And so I'll print them all off and read over it as I'm printing them, or like dragging them to the specific page or whatever. So when I get them all printed off, I already reviewed the PowerPoints again outside of class, you know, already. I'll get all this printed out and I'll go through it again. I will go through the first, that box doesn't matter because that's the first slide, that's just anatomy. And so I'll go to the first slide that actually matters. And I'll go through, is it focused? Please be focused. And I'll go through every little part, as in like the first little thing. What that say? Grow. I'm reading backwards on this thing. Principles. So I'll go into my book, look up when it talks about that specifically, and I'll write it out what I feel like is important. And that's how I study. wrote down so many notes on like the specific ones. I'll write it in red if it's something the nurse needs to know. I'll write it. I'm a colored person, so like certain things like this that I need to know, I'll, you know, just make it easier for yourself. That's something I can suggest you to do when it has like your teacher tell you in the book that there's a chart that she wants you to review, because that's important. I'll go in the, if she didn't put it in the PowerPoint, I'll go into my online book. If you have online books, use those online books to copy and paste, because nobody wants to type. Go into the online book and actually copy and paste that specific chart. She said, oh, this is important. Go in there and get that chart and study that chart in your group of notes. Like, I like to study everything together. I found that organizing it together helps me. So there's that. Yeah. And then at the end of the chapter, and this is something I did with my fundamental study. If you haven't seen that video, please click, I think it'll be right here, but I'll put it in the explanation, or is it the the information little bubble up there, it'll pop over. And it was telling y'all how I study fundamentals of nursing for anybody in first semester. But one of the tips I used in fundamentals of nursing was to print out the key points. That has always helped me, because it helped me on one specific test, because we have team tests, which is you'll take the test yourself, and then at the end of everybody taking the test, we'll retake the test with like a group of 3 to 4 people, and y'all take it together. And if you get like A, B, or C, you'll get a specific amount of points after you make the benchmark of your own test. It's just something they do to help us. But yeah, one test I was reading, I think it was this specific test, it was about pain, and it was talking about what you should give for or was it the heart, Kawasaki disease. And one of the questions was talking about either acetaminophen, aspirin, and all this stuff. And I wouldn't have known that answer if I did not print off my key points. She talked about the fact that she put it in the PowerPoints, but I print off all the PowerPoints and read them in detail and take notes in detail. So I know she didn't put them in the PowerPoints. And so I was looking for it in the PowerPoints, and I can't find it after the test. Like, people was wondering what the question was. And I mean, the answer was. And when I took the team test, the people I took the test with didn't believe me when I said it was aspirin, because you know you can't give aspirin to some kids, or like in certain situations you can't give aspirin, and in some situations you should not give acetaminophen. But I mean, that's just something we always hear. So when we heard aspirin, it was just out of this world. But because they didn't know that that specific drug was in the key points, they didn't get that right. I did. My team test did. They happened to, you know, they just wanted to go with it because I was sure and I read it. But y'all, funny thing, like, people in nursing school are funny. They're funny. I have to tell y'all a couple of stories about these people in nursing school, because I personally don't mess with any of them outside of class or a clinical. I don't mess with people in nursing school, because they really not there for you to, like, you'll think you'll have your group of people that are dead on for you, helping you pass and like care about you, and then there's people that are nosy and this just wanting to do better than you. So you'll learn that once you get in nursing school. But my team test specifically had this, we went past this question and they weren't sure, and I was telling them, like, y'all, I read this in the book, and I can't really explain why this is the answer, because you know how you try to give your little rationale why it's the answer. I couldn't give them that because I just read it. I just happened to remember the fact that I read it. We answered the question, and I saw them. Like, I was sitting at my table or whatever, looking over the questions, and I was actually trying to find it in my notes. Like, I'm like, I can't remember where I saw it, but I know I read it for this specific disease. And so I saw the girls who were in my, you know, team test taking the test with me, and one of the girls was like, I think it was acetaminophen. I think it's acetaminophen. Like, trying to say to each other, like, we got that wrong because of her. And the Lord was with me that day, either the teacher or the Lord, I don't know. But she after the test and everybody had came back in the room, she was talking about this specific question. I don't know why she brought up this question, but she was talking about this specific question about Kawasaki disease and what you should give to a kid with Kawasaki disease. I can find it for you, because I just, here it is. Yep. Okay. Nursing interventions for a child with Kawasaki disease include administering high-dose intravenous immunoglobulin and aspirin. I remember reading that. And so I answered that, of course. And so the teacher came and she was like, you guys, I am so flabbergasted at the fact that only 3% of this class got that answer right. And she was just like going on how like only 2 people got the answer right and all that. And we were like, what question is it? What question is it? What question is it? And she was like, the one that's about the Kawasaki disease. You know you're supposed to give aspirin. And I looked over at them girls. And I kind of flipped my hair, but it was like, it wasn't that dramatic, but it was, you know. But the girls, they both looked at me and was like, oh my gosh, good, Kesi, good for you, Kesi. But they know they got the answer right on that team test, but they didn't get it right in, you know, their individual test. But they were trying to talk about me over to the side where I heard them clearly talking about it was acetaminophen. Well, I knew it. So watch out for the people in our school, because half of them don't have your back. The other half don't have your back. You probably have this many people that have your back, but have your own back. That's my suggestion. But that's pretty much it as far as how I study and what I do. So to answer your question in a sentence, I make a schedule on specific days. As you saw at the beginning, I make a schedule on the specific days, what specific chapters I'm going to study and what specific thing I'm going to do that day. I'll write the objectives, read the objectives, answer the objectives, go to the book to answer the objectives, do my online anything that the school has given me. So if your school has given y'all online quizzes or whatever, go do those things. Save it in the Quizlet so you don't have to keep logging in to do all that. Save it in the Quizlet and review those questions. And then later on, read on things that you don't understand, and include in that reading things that I don't understand. I'll print out all my PowerPoints, write in all the things that I feel like I need to know as far as the nursing intervention, as far as nursing management, you know, therapeutic management and all that, communication and all that. This is all the things I include into the read upon things that you don't understand tab. You remember that bullet point? Do the key points. Make sure you include those key points, go through those, highlight whatever you feel like you need to know, or just remind you or whatever. Key points are usually things that remind you of what was in the chapter. And then I'll do whatever review questions that I can find online. Get the rationale, get the answers, and y'all, it's just so much you put into studying. And I mean, it takes a long time, but it really just has everything to do with what works for you. I'm a kinesthetic learner, which means I work better when doing. And as a person studying out of a book, it really doesn't work for me with certain type of things. Like I can't do note cards. I tried that several times last semester and it was just a waste of time. Can't do note cards. I can't just read. I have to write. I have to see pictures. That's why I like to print my PowerPoints up, because they like to put pictures in there and whatever. So I like to see pictures. I like to make out a plan, you know, like I'm a controlling person as well. So the fact that I make a plan on what I need to do each day is kind of me telling me what to do. So that helps me too. So making out a plan on what I need to do every day and how I need to do it and what specific things I got to do, it helps. And I really try to like cram everything I do in this video, and I hope it kind of helped, even though I was kind of rambling most of the time. I hope y'all enjoyed my little story time about the test. Like, you never know when you get in that kind of situation, so make sure you know your stuff. Make sure you understand something before you move on. Make sure you understand at least 3 things, you know. Like, don't move on because you read it. Move on because you truly understand it. You could answer a question about it. And as far as like taking the NCLEX style questions, get you some NCLEX books to help you take those type of questions. Go to the websites. They have so many word banks, test banks online for specific books, and I'm sure you got to pay for them, but I don't know. But yeah, I think that's all I have for you guys today. I don't know how long this video is, but I do hope it helps. Like, I'm gonna keep it as long as it is, because I mean, whatever I can do for y'all to help y'all, I'm willing to do. You feel me? So I hope y'all enjoyed it. Shout out to Golden Ma for the fabulous and marvelous question because it made this video happen. Y'all leave comments down below and in whatever videos I ask y'all to comment below, because I really want y'all's feedback so I would know what y'all want to see on my channel. You feel me? Like, it doesn't even have to be nursing related. Like, it could be life related. If you have some questions about me, on how I live and how I survived as a PWI, as a black person, like, let me know. You feel me? Like, I want to let y'all know, but I just don't know what y'all want to know. I just don't want to be random and y'all get a video that doesn't really matter to you, you know? So yeah, like I say, be sure to talk to me in the comments and follow all my social media below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.